Okay, I have a question. When laying out the scale length in metric, how precise does it actually need to be? For example, the measurement 36.369. Do I mark it 36 even or do I mark 36.5? Basically, you try and get as close as possible. There's no way. I mean, you're marking things with a pencil, and I'm gonna start over, and I'm actually gonna take some of the zoom off here because currently, oh god, that looks bad. There we go. Ah, yeah. Sorry. So yeah, marking out frets by hand or fret positions. There is no way that with a pencil or even a scalpel blade or whatnot, you're going to get anywhere near as precise as going to like what, a thousandth of a millimeter. So what I do is I try and get as close as I possibly can. So for instance, using what you had, the 36.36, that's usually where I leave it. So 36.36, I round that up to 36.4 because that is roughly as close as I can get. Then when I actually get to, so first I mark out everything with a pencil, and then usually mechanical pencil because they are a hell of a lot more accurate than just plain old pencil because you're not going to get it sharp enough. So I mark things out with a mechanical pencil at first. Then I take a scalpel blade and a protractor again, and I try to cut in the center of that pencil line. Takes a fair bit of doing. No, it is not as accurate as a CNC or a computer can do, but it is accurate enough. Your intonation point isn't going to change that drastically if you're a few hundredths or a few thousandths off. Of course, you want to get as close as possible. But yeah, all in all, even when you're actually doing fret crowning, you're not going to get the exact crown of the fret wire itself to be at such a sharp point that it hits that thousandth millimeter. So getting it close enough is good enough. Well, I wouldn't say I've made. I have worked on over 80 guitars at this point, 80 guitars and basses at this point, and there are extremely few that have had intonation issues, and that has mostly had to do with the scale length either being completely wrong in relation to the bridge, or which by what I mean is the scale length was wrong. So the frets were cut as if on a 25.5-inch scale length guitar, and it ended up being a 25-inch scale guitar, so of course everything is thrown out of whack. Fortunately, was not a guitar I built, but was a guitar that I have owned and still do own, which is something I should fix at some point because, yeah, it sounds great, but doesn't play that great. Yeah, getting your frets as close as possible, that is the key. Do your best, is what I'm trying to say. The thing that really does help out a lot is a really good steel ruler, a meter long steel ruler, because these have very specific, very small, well, very specific. Of course, it's a ruler, it's supposed to be specific. But the markings on them are very clear, and it's a lot easier for you to find exactly where you need to be in relation to where you're cutting. I feel like I repeated a lot there, but I usually do. And yet, with all my tangents, with all my crazy stuff, people still watch my videos, so I guess I'm doing something right. And I guess I'm making sense to some people.